So our vision must be an African vision. Because we must know, we got to look at the situation, look at the present situation of our people. Not just here, look at our people all throughout the world. Look at Africa and look at the turmoil that's happening in Africa today. The same turmoil, we are a micropart or a small part of the turmoil in the African world. So our vision must be a vision of the African world. And wherever we are, Malcolm told us, land is the basis for all independence. It's the basis of power. You cannot have power unless you got control over land. Power means two things. You must have influence and control. You can have influence, but you can't, if you don't have control, you don't have power. That's right. So, but we can use the influence that we have to get power. Okay, so when we talk about, I was looking at the covenant with Negro America Day briefly on C-SPAN today on cable. And as Brother Farrakhan said, it's a covenant with hell. Because you cannot have a covenant with hell. Okay, no way. We talk about having a covenant with the United States of America, or Europe, then we have a covenant with hell. It will not, it cannot abide. So when we talk about the vision, we got to have an ideology. This is what I hear this sister talking about, this brother talking about. We have to have an ideology. We got to have principles on which to guide us, to lead us, to bring us to where we know we must go. And I'm going to tell you this. There was a book called by Elijah Muhammad called Destruction of America. We will not have the construction of Africa until we have the construction of America. I'm going to tell you that's the truth. I mean, you know, this is a vision on down the way. So, in other words, if we talk about being a revolutionary, Malcolm was talking about revolution, he was teaching about the American. Malcolm was a teacher. And he was teaching us about revolution. But how did he start to teach us about America? He talked about the American so-called revolution. In other words, it was about land. And they came together. They had a vision. Guess what that vision was? That vision was to build an empire bigger than the British Empire, out of which they broke out of. To have power, to have an ultimate power over the world. And that's what we have today with the so-called United States of America. Some people call it the United Snakes of America. Okay, that's what we have today. We have a world power that is destroying the world. The biggest terrorist in the world today is the United States government. That's why you got a situation in Iraq. That's why you have a situation in Afghanistan. That's why you have troops in Korea, troops in Japan, troops in Europe, troops all over the place, because it's protecting the empire. What does the empire do? It robs from the people. Right. Malcolm said, when we talk about capitalism, we say capitalism is vulturistic. What does that mean? It means it sucks the blood out of the victim so that it can live. Okay, that's what a vulture does. Some people call it a buzzer. Now, we got to look at all of these things. Young people, I'm talking to you, because you are the future. But you are today here, so you can take the words back to your peers. Because this is how we're going to get the information to how we're going to be able to repair ourselves. We will not be able to totally repair ourselves under the conditions under which we live today. We will not. So stop talking about being educated in the school system. We're going to have to destroy the school system the way it's constructed before we can get to a point of educating our children the way they need to be educated. We got to. Okay? So we got to do ourselves healing, but it must be in the process of struggle. It must be in the process of struggle. And I want to say, unity cannot take place without organization. Even when you talk about unity within yourself, you got to organize yourself. But in organizing yourself, you got to recognize one thing. And sometimes we quote from white people: no man is an island himself. Everybody is part of the man. So we must come together with our people. It is only through group activity and group social unity that we're going to have individual people coming together. And one of the things, one of my favorite people, Kwame Ture, used to always say, individualism is a luxury that African people can ill afford. And as long as we don't see each other and don't associate with each other, don't come together to organize to destroy this system that, so that we can become reconstructed as African people, then we're going to be lost. Okay, principles. Malcolm taught principles. We must not put our faith in people, but put our faith in principles. Once we put our faith in principles, it doesn't matter what a person does, what an individual does. It does not matter whether a leader strays away or whatever. If we put our organization together and have the principles and understand the principles and adopt the principles in our lives, then we're going to continue on. We're going to defeat that. And this is what happened in the 60s. I'll be 60 this year. But this is what happened in the 60s. We had the Civil Rights Movement, and then we had the Black Liberation Movement. The Black Liberation Movement talks about revolution. The Black Liberation Movement moved to try to organize the people, try to organize the grand groups. The Civil Rights Movement had its allegiance to America. So therefore, you had a division within the people from a group of leaders who were in the Civil Rights Movement and a group of leaders who were in the Black Liberation Movement. Many of the people who were in both movements were sincere. But in the Civil Rights Movement, you had many who were informants for the United States government and helped to imprison many of the people who were in the Black Liberation Movement, who made sacrifices. And we must understand that. If we don't understand that, then we don't understand that why we have to have an ideology, why we have to have principles, and why we must understand organization in all its forms. And one of the things that we tried to do, that we did, I'm going to tell you something. We had some achievements. And one achievement was that we attempted was political education. In other words, organizations began to pull people in so that we could see the system. And I'm going to say this is the best time, as far as I'm concerned, this is the best time that we have, because we can look at our history all before. We have a luxury now of looking at our history. As Gabriel and Brother Menelik was saying the other day, look, we didn't have, when we came up in the 60s, 50s and 60s, we didn't have anybody to guide us. We didn't have anybody to come to us in terms of, tell us about Garvey and all that other things and all that. We had to learn that on our own, and we did. But by the time that we began to really get it all together, the United States government, through its counterintelligence program, dismantled and killed and assassinated organizations and leaders, and basically the Black Revolution, the Black Liberation Movement was defeated. It was defeated. And the Civil Rights Movement moved into the realm of reform. What's the difference between reform and revolution? Both are about change. Reform, we talk about a house. Reform only wants to repair a part of the house so the house can continue to exist. Revolution is about building a new house. It might be on an old foundation, but you're going to destroy that house. Okay? Because out of the old comes the new. And so out of the ashes of and the destruction of what is already present must come the future. And this is where we are today. When we talk about Malcolm X, there's two watchwords. Nationalism, learn what nationalism is. Nationalism says that you must have a nation.